Hello and welcome to the recap of the day 29 of the Karen Reed case. And oh my God, what a difference experts can make in a case. Real experts, not I did 120 hours of course and then I never ever tested my hypothesis. I never did the math because math is hard. No, these people are people who work for a living in this field. We had three experts, two people from the ARCA company. Those are the ones who do crash investigations. They work extensively with this, figuring out what happened. How was this person hit? How was this person unalived? They have worked on the Challenger space shuttle, if anyone is old enough to remember that. They work with the NHL to make it more secure to be an ice hockey player. They work with the army to make sure they constructed the seats to make it more secure to ride around in Iraq. All of these people, or those three people on the stand today, were highly skilled and very good communicators. Because one of the problems Lally had with his experts were it was really hard to figure out what testimony they were giving and how that had anything to do with the injuries to John O'Keefe or how it had any connection to how he died. But that changed totally today, I'll have to say, because this was clear testimony. It was really easy to understand. And Lally ended up looking really silly. My hope is what I saw is what the jury saw. I'm always afraid of a jury because you can't trust the jury to see what we see, sadly, because I feel the evidence is nowhere near beyond reasonable doubt, especially after today. But knock on wood, uh, they will see it the way we saw it. There were clear conclusions. It wasn't like the ME from Lallys expert saying, I can't determine anything. I don't know anything. They were really clear in what they believed happened. And we can go to the first one, who is a highly skilled forensic pathologist who testified. He saw it more like dog marks, the injuries to the arm, but he also had this clear opinion.
Based on your extensive training and experience, what is your opinion regarding whether those injuries are consistent with being struck, with an individual being struck by a vehicle?
If you mean struck in that part of the body, on the arm, like
Yes.
directly, I would say no, it doesn't look like that at all.
And can you explain that?
Well, if you're hit by a vehicle, whichever part of your body is hit, if it's a significant impact at all, you're going to get bruising, and we don't have any bruising here. We just have what I would call linear abrasions without any bruising. So that does not look to me at all remotely like an impact from a motor vehicle.
What would you?
That don't look anywhere near to an impact from a motor vehicle to him. This is a guy who has worked in this field for a long time, who have done tons of autopsies. He's worked closer, he said between 12 and 13,000 cases, closer to 13,000. He's an expert with a high level of knowledge. Compare that to what Lally brought to the table. People who couldn't determine anything, who didn't have an opinion on anything, and couldn't say anything with certainty. Other than him, we had, and this was a treat for the ladies, we had Dr. Wolf on the stand. He is the guy from ARCA who tested the car, and he reached this conclusion.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Last question, Doctor. In your expert opinion, based on all your testing, is the damage to the taillight that you saw consistent with striking a human head?
No.
In your expert opinion, is the damage to the taillight consistent with striking a human arm?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right,
These two experts, they didn't have to fuddle around, talk about, well, physics and stuff. How did anything end up here? I don't know. It just did, like Trooper Paul. It was very easy to understand. No injuries look like John O'Keefe was struck by a car. They had at least the ARCA guys' testimony in the papers they got from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Why Lally couldn't even dismantle them? He tried on cross and he went absolutely down the most absurd rabbit hole. He kept talking about, well, did you know there was no dog DNA found? He asked the car guy about that. Nope, I didn't. He asked the doctor, the pathologist, and he said, no, but it's consistent with a dog attack. He was trying the most absurd ways of getting people to change their testimony, and none of them did. It's not like watching when Alan Jackson got a hold of one of the Lallys witnesses and they all of a sudden couldn't remember anything, couldn't say anything. These guys said the same thing consistently. If the jury can see anything beyond reasonable doubt, I'm afraid there's something in the water in Canton, because this should have never ever been a case. You have some of the leading experts in the field claiming there was no impact consistent with a car strike on John O'Keefe's body. We also had one more expert testifying that Lally's theory about him holding a glass out and being struck on the arm couldn't in no way propel him up to the front lawn as they claim, because there's not enough mass here. And if the car had struck his arm, there would at least be severely bruising, maybe ruptured tendons, maybe broken bones. There was no way they could get this to stick. Dr. Wolf talked about it was a funny moment when he talked about them building a cannon to shoot glass at the tail light to see if it could have been that John O'Keefe threw the glass at the tail light, making it shatter. They couldn't replicate it. And then Lally tried to get one over by saying, well, did you remember that the weather, it was cold? And he said, yeah, we pre-tempered it for the same temperature. Where's that in your report? It's nowhere, but it's just a summarization of the testing we did. Well, did you know there was a blizzard? And this guy was like, it wouldn't have meant anything, because nowhere near any of the facts line up with what you're saying. It's a disgrace. This case have gone on for 29 days. Karen Reed should have been, Lally, when the case was done, should have stood up and said, yeah, Your Honor, I'm sorry. We're going to pay her lawyer bill and we're out of here. I'm so sorry. We are this bad at our job. I hope the jury sees the same. Tomorrow, today, whenever you see this video, will be closing arguments. Defense goes first. They have up to an hour. If I was them, I would try to keep it short, concise, talk about how bad Proctor did his investigation, talk about how the experts clearly stated there was no way John O'Keefe could have died in the way Lally claims. And I wouldn't bog them down too much about Jen McCabe and all the phone calls. Just get it into their head. John O'Keefe wasn't struck by that SUV. That would be the most important part, in my opinion. Lally will use 1 hour. He will be lollygagging the entire hour, talking about ring videos and weather and music at the bar, because he has no science connecting his case to reality. That's the truth of it. And I pray to whatever you want to pray to, that the jury has seen what we have seen in the last 29 days. The Commonwealth should be embarrassed that they brought this case. Karen Reed should walk tomorrow. The jury should be done tomorrow, coming back, looking Lally in the eyes, and say, like Alan Jackson said to Trooper Proctor, shame on you.